Who's in your corner when you're in the Reinventing Ring? In this video, I'm going to let you know 4 ways you can get support while reinventing yourself. How's it going, Reinventors? I'm Amelia, and this is Reinventing You. This is the channel where you can be inspired to reinvent yourself, because I want you to live a life of joy, fulfillment, and purpose. Welcome back to the 2 in 2022 challenge. This is the second month, so we're in the twos. I want to talk today about how you can get support, where you can get support, and what kind of support you really need while reinventing yourself. Now, this is your first time. If you just clicked on this video, maybe the title or the thumbnail caught your eye, welcome. I am in the middle of a challenge to challenge folks to either start reinventing their lives, start reinventing themselves in different ways, or to maybe reboot, maybe between 2020 and 2021, reinventing yourself kind of got slowed down or stopped or something. This is a way to get started again in 2022. So let's get to it, shall we? There are 4 ways that you can get support and have somebody in your corner. Now, I do want to say the term in your corner is from boxing. The term originated where you have either a trainer or an assistant who is actually literally in the corner of the ring during a boxing match. And when there's a break in the fighting or something, or before the fighting starts, that person is, I guess, giving advice or, motivating the fighter and letting them know what they're doing wrong or what they're doing right, or to keep going, all of those kinds of things. It's sort of like a tiny cheerleading spot, I guess, in a way, but it goes far beyond that. So when I talk about your support in these 4 areas, they might overlap in some ways, or they might be different. The first way of support, and it's one that I have talked about before, is professional support. And a lot of people shy away from this one because it sounds like, oh, well, if I go see somebody, there's something wrong with me. There are times in our lives when we do need some kind of support, professional support. I really don't know anybody who couldn't use a strength of a counselor or a coach in their lives in some fashion whatsoever. And I'm not saying everybody's crazy or anything. I don't want you to hear that. I'm just saying that we have all have times in our lives where we just need that professional support. I have a video I'm going to link below talking about how to find a counselor, or what kind of counselor or therapist is what I'm talking about. And it is very difficult. I know somebody recently who just tried to do that, and they were living in a new city and trying to figure out the insurance and what it covers, and then the listing on the insurance of what kinds of therapists they could see was just kind of overwhelming. They have found somebody, and I hope that works out for them. But what I'm saying is, if you need to see a counselor, if you need some therapy, whatever your situation, whether it's having to do with relationships, your career, even your health, it is so important to find one who's a good fit and also who is really got your back, who's really in your corner. And I say that because a lot of times people like myself who are Christian think that if they go see a Christian counselor, that's the same thing. It could be, but probably not. A lot of times Christian counselors do not have the education or the experience that other therapists have. And they often have an agenda. Now, maybe they would say, oh, I don't have an agenda. But if they are supported by some kind of denomination or church or something like that, then they are going to have whatever the agenda of that church is. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it can be misleading. And I've known people who've gone to Christian counselors have come out of that situation with terrible advice. And so I really say shy away from what I might call Christian counselors, and really any kind of faith-based counselors. I really would hesitate to use them. A lot of times some people say, well, I've gone to see my pastor or my rabbi. Unless that person is actually trained as a therapist, if they don't have any training that way, then that may not be the best option for you. Now, I'm a retired minister. If somebody came to me with some kind of issue, I would talk to them up to 3 times before referring them to a therapist, because I know I am not trained to handle that. In fact, there's times I look back now and I see things I shouldn't have told that person that, because I'm not trained to do what is necessary in a therapy situation. So how would you know if you need some professional help? Now, for instance, when I started the reinventing process myself, had just come off seeing a therapist on and off as I went through retirement. But when I actually decided to reinvent myself, I went back to the coach who actually got me started in the reinventing process. And she not only works with folks who work with people who are suicidal, but she also has a coaching business because she herself went through the reinventing process. And so it was very helpful for me to have her guidance through the process. Now, I did have to pay for that. And so when I'm talking about professional help, professional support, what I'm saying is you will have to pay either through your insurance or through out of your pocket. But it is worth it, because this kind of person can help you see the pitfalls or help you think in things in a new way, or just be there when things don't go right. And that will happen in the reinventing process. You will have times where you're like, okay, everything's going wrong here. What do I do about it? And that person is there. Now, it's true you're paying them to do that, but also you're going to show up. You're going to put in, if you're paying for something, then you're going to put in the effort to spend time with them and listen to them, okay? So it's a commitment, and that's why having professional help in your corner is, it's worth it. It's, it is, worth the money that you're spending. So that is one way then you can have support while going through reinventing yourself. The second way that you can have support in somebody in your corner is having a mentor. Now, when I first started out in reinventing, my mentors were all virtual, and they still are today. And so virtual mentors are a thing. So, for instance, for me, when I was going through reinventing, I looked at people who had done the same thing and looked at what the process that they went through, and that was very helpful. And I was trying to think if I have one of my books. I think it must be upstairs. I guess anyway. I had a book that I followed, and the person who was really my mentor was the person who coached my coach through the reinventing process. So I sort of had a virtual but real mentor at the same time. But you may be going through a process where you need to look to somebody that you may not be able to sit down and actually have a one-on-one conversation with, but they've written a book, they have a podcast, they have a video. I might be a mentor for you in terms of reinventing yourself. And the mentor situation is somebody who has been in the arena, in fact, been in the boxing ring, and knows what it's like. So you have to find somebody who knows what they're talking about. And I'll give you another example. I've had somebody who's taken the 2 in 2022 challenge. And by the way, if you are one of those people who are in the middle of this challenge, if you accepted that challenge, I want you to say in the comments below, I'm in the middle of the 2 in 2022 challenge. One of those folks told me that they had retired early and they were trying to figure out what their purpose was, what they want to do with their time, all those things, and they were painting. And I think that's awesome. But I think that one thing, if you're going to say, oh, I want to do this, find somebody who did the same thing that you are trying to do yourself. Learn from them. If they've written a book, that's great. If you find a friend of a friend, I know somebody who retired from the ministry and is now painting full time. I would love to, if I'm trying something like that, I would want to know what are the pitfalls, what are the things they did wrong. If you know somebody who's been in the boxing ring before you, then they can help you avoid that big knockout that's coming. They can help you figure out how to place your feet and how's the best way to protect your face and, the best boxing gloves to buy. And what I'm saying is that person has been there. They know what you're going to face yourself. And that's what you need if you're reinventing yourself. Find somebody who's gone through the same kind of situation. If you're getting a divorce, you might find somebody else or even a divorce support group that can help you through this. When I'm talking about mentor, that's what I'm talking about. Somebody who's basically been successful in their field or who successfully reinvented themselves or who've been through the same thing that you're going through right now or expecting to go through. So get a mentor. It's a wonderful way of having support. Now, the third way of getting support is through friends. And I want to say this, and I've said it before, is there are friends that are good friends, and then there are friends who are great support. You know what I'm talking about. Who are the people that you can go to no matter what's happening, and you can just unburden yourself, and you're not going to feel judged or shamed or put down or lectured when it's all over? Who are those people? Those are the people that you want in your corner when you're in the boxing ring. Now, I've talked about this before, and this is an idea that I got from Brene Brown, and I could not find, somehow in the move, I don't know what happened, I lost my original one. I want you to take a piece of paper and cut it into 1-inch square. Now, this is not exactly 1-inch square, but I want you to take a piece of paper like this, and I know it's going to sound really silly, but it works. And on this piece of paper, I want you to write down 4 or 5 names of the people who really have your corner, who really have your back, and aren't going to stab you in the back, okay? These are the people that you can come to and you can really be yourself with, and you can really tell them what's going on. You can invite them into your reinventing challenge. You can say, this is what I'm going through. This is the area of life I'm reinventing. These are the people who've either been in maybe a similar situation, they've faced tough times, they've changed themselves, they've made major strides in their life, they understand what you're going through, and or they're going to give you good advice. And when I say that, I'm saying they're going to listen to you completely, hear your whole story, and then they're going to say, what I hear you're saying is, but really, I think, Amelia, you need to do this, or you're on the right track, or hold on, let's think about this a minute. They're going to be the people that you really want to talk to and share about the whole process. Those are the ones you want on your 1-inch square piece of paper, and those are the friends who you want in your corner. So go right now, get a piece of paper, I know there's one around you, and cut it out and write on those names. Now, if you only have 2 people, that's fine. And once you've done that, take your piece of paper and put it somewhere safe. Now, I used to say keep it in your wallet, but I hardly use a wallet anymore. In fact, I'm filming this on my phone, and my phone has a case, and right there I can see peeking out is 3 important pieces of information that I carry with me: my credit card, my driver's license, and my insurance card, okay? So I guess I could put this in there, but it may fall out every time I pull something out. But find a safe place that you go to often. If it's your bathroom mirror, that's fine too. Find a place that you can see, these are the names, because sometimes you need a reminder. These are the people that are really in my corner and that I want to keep in my corner. So the third way, find some friends who are really in your corner. Coffee's getting cold. The fourth person who's going to have your back, who's going to be in your corner, is your partner, your spouse, your significant other. Now, you might say, I'm not married, I'm single, I don't have anybody. So you might say, this is really not, It doesn't pertain to me, but it might in the future, okay? I'm just saying that's very important that you have support from your partner or spouse. Now, if you are reinventing yourself in terms of relationships, and one relationship you know you need to get out of is your partner or spouse, then yeah, I get it. This is not significant for you. However, if that's not your situation, if you're reinventing yourself in some other way, if you are in a significant relationship of some kind, that person needs to be in your corner. Now, if they're not, that is its own set of problems. And remember, when I first started talking about professional support, you may have to start there. So it might be you have to start back with professional support and then come back to that partner or spouse. Now, my spouse is one of the people on my 1-inch square piece of paper. And I would hope that yours is too. If your significant other is not on your piece of paper, like I said, that's going to be some soul searching there, okay? When you're in the boxing ring, do you want that person cheering you on and giving you great advice, or is that person going to be trying to tear you down and saying, you know, why are you trying to reinvent yourself? You're fine the way you are. You don't need to make any changes. That is a whole, can of worms there. So I guess what I'm saying is you need the support of your significant other if you're going to reinvent yourself, if you're changing. Now, I give this example because it's true. If you're trying to lose weight and you've got to deal with your diet and your person you live with is not in your corner, if they aren't supporting you, and however that is, if they are, have a snack every night. My husband does. He has a snack every night. But right now I'm in the middle of intermittent fasting, and to know that, at a certain time I stop eating has been helpful for me, because I know even though he's eating, I don't have to have a snack. I don't have to eat because I'm not in my window of eating. If you are one of these people who have got to change, everything about, maybe you're on Nutrisystem or Weight Watchers or something, you have special foods, but your partner never eats vegetables, they're, eating all these snacks, you're going to have to do something. You've got to find a way to get that support, or you're just not going to be able to do it. It's going to be, or I should say, it's going to be doubly hard for you. So, that's the example I have. They have got to somehow, even if they're not going through that diet with you, they have got to change their habits in some ways to support you. Maybe, at night, instead of eating in front of me, my husband could go in another room, that kind of thing. Or if you have a spouse who doesn't eat the same foods you do, maybe somehow you can figure out how to divide your foods, or eat your things first before they get out the potato chips or whatever the junk food is that they're eating. If you say, I'm not eating desserts, can you possibly not have desserts in the house? You have got to have your partner on board for that, to help you out. That has got to be your support. And if you don't, it's going to be really, really hard for you. If you're reinventing in any other way in your life, then you need to find ways that your significant other can be of support. It is so important. I just can't reiterate that enough. And like I said, if that's not happening, then I think you need to focus on professional support. Now, here's the question. Do you need all 4 levels? Well, yes and no. If you're not having a professional help right now, but you've got supportive friends and spouse and you're following a mentor, then that's great. If you're getting professional help, but your significant other is not really behind you, but you're working through it in a professional manner, then I think that's great. And if you've got friends who are in your corner, that's wonderful. You've got to have a balance. If you've got all 4 covered, awesome. That is the best scenario. But if you say, well, I don't have a significant other. I don't have a mentor right now. I've got a couple of friends that are supporting me. I would say 2 out of 4 is probably what you need. Maybe find some kind of professional help. Doesn't have to be a therapist, it can be a coach. I don't know if I've ever done a video on finding a coach, so maybe that's a future video. But that is really significant for you. So I want you in the comments below to let me know what you think. And I also want to know, what kind of support do you have? 1, 2, 3, and 4, you could put the numbers. I have 1 and 2, or I need 3, or I wish I had 4. Or I want to know, if you're in the middle of the 2 and 22 challenge, what kind of support are you getting? Or if you're reinventing yourself, whether you've taken the challenge or not, what kind of support are you getting in your reinventing journey? I'm Amelia. This is Reinventing You. Have a great one.